In this audio, I am going to explain about deadlock prevention and timeout based schemes. Deadlock prevention, see, you have here majorly 7 points, I think. Yes, 7 points. So in each and every point, the basic things what they are explaining first at the beginning I will tell. The first point first, they are telling two approaches about deadlock prevention. The first two bullets are over. Now, in the second point, they are giving to the first approach some points and also disadvantages. In the third point, to the second approach, okay, what they are mentioning. And in the fourth point, okay, here we have two different deadlock prevention schemes. So what are the schemes? Observing the fourth point, again you have 1 and 2 point. So first one is what? Weight die scheme, underline that. And second one is what? Won't wait scheme. So these two schemes. And in the fifth point, just we have to roll back the transactions, they will tell. Observing the fourth point, you have two schemes now, that is weight die scheme, underline that, and won't wait scheme, that is underline that. So to each and every scheme they are giving some examples. Maybe in your notes you have some diagrams there. In my notes I don't have. So now in the fifth point they are roll backing the transactions, okay, in the system based on the prevention. Next in the sixth point, so what they are doing in the weight die scheme, okay. Next what they are doing in the next bullet, won't die scheme. That's it. Seventh point is very easy. So unnecessary what are the rollbacks are occurring in these two schemes we have to find out. Okay, these are the basic things you have in the deadlock prevention first. Now be ready. The first point, there are two approaches to deadlock prevention. The first approach, one approach ensures that no cyclic waits, underline that, no cyclic waits, okay, can occur by ordering the request for logs. Means multiple transactions T1, T2, T3, they are requesting for logs in the order by ordering the request for logs. In the order they are requesting for logs, but then but we have to mention that we have to ensure that there are no cyclic waits. Cyclic waits means T1 is waiting for T2, T2 is waiting for T3, T3 is waiting for T1, like that. So first approach is what? One approach ensures that no cyclic waits can occur by ordering the request for logs, or one more, or requiring all logs to be acquired together. Okay, next second approach. The other approach is closer to deadlock recovery and performs a transaction rollback instead of waiting for a log. So the transaction is waiting for a log, like in granting logs. Observe the first T2 transaction is requesting shared mode. T1 transaction in exclusive mode, T3 is requesting in shared, and T4 is requesting in shared, but till now T1 it did not get progressed. So that's why here what they are telling, okay, instead of waiting for a log, that particular transaction, we have to perform a transaction rollback. The second approach I am going to read again. The other approach is closer to deadlock recovery and performs transaction rollback instead of what? Waiting for a log. Whenever the wait could potentially result in a what? Deadlock. If it is waiting means it may be go to what? Deadlock state sometimes. So we have to roll back of the transactions in the we have to do rollback of transaction in the second approach. The first approach is what? All the transactions they are doing their request for logs, but they must be in the ordered only have to do, so that no other cyclic waits here we are not getting. No other cyclic waits are not getting. Second approach is what? Instead of that transactions are waiting for a log, we have to roll back the transactions. Okay. Now second point, the simplest scheme and the first approach requires that each transaction logs all its data items before it begins execution. In the second approach, after or see in the first point, first bullet, after or what I wrote, requiring all logs to be acquired together. Whatever the logs from the multiple transactions are there, we have to require all those logs to be acquired together. So they are taking, okay, now see here in the second point about the first approach, they are explaining the simplest scheme, and the first approach requires that each transaction logs all its data items, okay, all its data items before it begins execution. Moreover, either all are logged in one step or none are logged. So we have multiple data items. All those multiple data items have been locked by each transaction. Okay, so whatever the transactions are there. So here we have two disadvantages to this protocol. It is often hard to predict next before the transaction begins what data items need to be logged. Data item utilization may be very low since many of the data items may be logged but unused for a long time. They may be logged but they are unused for long time. This is the second disadvantage. Now see the third point. The second approach for preventing deadlocks is to use preemption and transaction rollbacks. What is meant by preemption? Preemption is nothing but forcibly taking the charges of that particular transaction, and we are going to be roll back that particular transaction. Okay, so the second approach for preventing deadlocks. So preventing deadlocks is what? The second one, what they are telling in the second approach, in the first point, second bullet, what they are telling. Second approach is in what? Second bullet in the first point.